Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope you're all having a very. I don't think many people have very good Mondays. We'll say a pleasant start to your week, because Mondays can be a little bit tough, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Mine was decent, I must say. Hello, Zan. Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you so much for joining. Monday torture. Oh no, poor Zan. Come here. Let me give you. How do I give you guys a head pat? I'll just. No, that doesn't make any sense. I tried like. This would be like my hand going up and down, patting your head, but it doesn't work. Wait, I can pat, 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 pat. Wait, now you're petting me at the same time. Okay. Jewel head pats. That's nice. Cute. Very cute. But welcome in, Lamb, and welcome in everyone else. Your Uno reverse card. That's true. You guys know that emote that I have of head pats? Like when I get head patted, hang on, where is it? Olga drew this one for me. I love it so much because the face is so like head empty, brain empty, only head pat, only thing I care about. It's like I could be very angry with you, and then suddenly you head pat me, and I'm just like, ooh, happy. But I hope you're all having a decent start to your week anyway. Thankfully, my toesies are healing. My toeses are supposes healing and what? Oh wait, no, I know what that was. That was from what movie? It was with Gene Kelly. Singing in the Rain. I'm pretty sure. Moses supposes his toes are roses, but Moses supposes erroneously. But Moses, he noses his toes aren't roses, as Moses supposes his toes to be. Hoop-de-doodle-daddle, Moses supposes his toes are roses, but Moses supposes erroneously. A Mose is a Mose, a toes is a toes. I forget the rest. I think they just start dancing and they just start like tearing apart this enunciation professionalist's room. If you guys haven't seen that, I would highly recommend you do. All of the Singing in the Rain stuff is great. Obviously, Singing in the Rain itself, but Make 'em Laugh by what was his name again? I'm almost certain it was an Irish type of name. Make 'em laugh. Don't you know that the world loves to laugh? That was it. Donald O'Connor. I love that song, actually. Maybe I should learn that song to sing. Well, no, the whole aspect of that song comes from just the absolute insanity of that man doing all of that physical comedy and that dancing. It's not even dancing, it's just pure physical comedy. I remember I heard that apparently they shot it once, but they wanted to do it again for some reason. And I think he ended up having to go to hospital. Like, he was a heavy smoker, so the fact he was able to do all this crazy running up walls, doing backflips, like falling over, fighting with stuff. I think, was it all in one take? I can't remember if it was. There could have been the odd, like, sneaky cut here, but I'm pretty sure it was very well done. Don't you know that the world loves to laugh? Ah, my dad said be an actor, my son, but be a comical one. They'll be standing in line for those old honky-tonk monkey shines. Now you can study Shakespeare or be quite elite, and you could charm the critics but have nothing to eat. Just slip on a banana peel, the world's at your feet. Make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh. It's so much fun. It's such a fun little song, I must say. It's such a fun song. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted, but yeah, thankfully my feet are okay. My feet are good after I dropped a barbell on them. Talking about music, I was listening to some music today actually while I was going about my day, and I was listening to the Andrews Sisters. Now, if you guys don't know who that is, that's a very famous group. I must say, very famous group. A trio of sisters who, if you've ever heard any sort of like tight harmony songs from like the 40s or 50s, it was likely them. Very, very influential. Now, so for example, one of their songs you've probably heard Bugle Bugle Boy. What's the start of that lyric again? Oh no, sorry, not Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy. Sorry, not Bugle Woogie. How does it go again? What's the starting lyric? He was a famous trumpet man from out Chicago way. He had a boogie style that no one else could play. He was the top man at his craft. But then his number came up and he was gone with the draft. He's in the army now, a blowing revelry. He's the boogie woogie bugle boy of Company V. I love that music. I love that style of music around that period. But anyway, I was listening to them, and a song came on called Mama Loves Shortening Bread. Now that's a term for making shortbread. I never heard the term shortening bread, but it makes sense. It's shortbread. And it was a very fun little song. It was a very cute little song. And afterwards, I was listening to like a collection of songs, and I was just going back over some of the ones that I thought were pretty good. And that was one of them. And I saw some very interesting, fun little videos here and there. Hello, Clever. Welcome in. We're currently talking about shortening bread. I saw a really great one with Dolly Partridge, with another woman, and they harmonized beautifully doing that song, I must say. Maybe someday I should just use YouTube videos and just we watch the random stuff that I come across. Just reaction content. I've already said this before, I just do reaction content. Shortened bread. I suppose so. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so Dolly Partridge and this woman, I can't remember her name. I think it was Pilly. Nutting like random old timey songs on the playlist. Exactly. They sound wonderful together. But then I came across a version by the Beach Boys. Now, I've not really listened much to the Beach Boys. I know some of their songs, definitely. But it's not one of my favorite bands. But I learned that, what was his name again? Beach Boys. One of the members of it, Brian Wilson. Yes, Brian Wilson. Apparently he was obsessed with this song, Shortening Bread. Around the time, I think it was around the 70s or 80s, he was obsessed with this song to the point that apparently there is like 4 or 5 different versions that he made and released as part of the Beach Boys of just this one song. It's not like 4 or 5 songs. It's like the same rhythm, the same beat, the same kind of flow is like present in like 6 of their songs, different songs. Now, that's already funny enough, but apparently there's stories of like, one of the songs that they made was a song called Ding Dang. And now these guys were all, high on life, let's say, on many grasses of life. They smoked grass often, and I'm sure they took many other things. But apparently when they had first came up with the song Ding Dang, which again had the same rhythm as Shortening Bread, it kind of goes like, Mama loves shortening bread. I can't remember. I can't remember exactly how it goes. He would be very disappointed in me, I'm sure. But the guy who came up with it alongside this Wilson guy, he goes to bed. Thereafter a lot of interesting I'm sure, ingestibles or whatever. And he goes to bed. And, your man Wilson's. He's still playing along. He's still playing that song. He goes to bed. He gets up in the morning. He comes into the room and he's still playing the song. He is still playing the song for hours on end. Another thing about this apparently was where was it? There's a couple of stories about it. Oh yeah, here it was. So, like one time when Wilson was with John Lennon and a couple of other people, they were all on LSD, and again he just kept playing Shortening Bread. And then there was another guy that he got a call in the middle of the night from this fellow Wilson being like, "Hey, listen, I need you to sing. I need you to do vocals on this song. You've got the perfect voice for it." And he apparently called it the greatest song of all time. And the funniest one to me was apparently Elton John, and I just heard that apparently he's blind now, or at least legally blind, some illness, poor guy, or an infection or something. Oh, that sucks. That's horrible. Elton John and Iggy Pop were hanging out with this fella Brian Wilson. And Wilson started, doing a little sing-along of Shortening Bread. And I don't know after how long, I couldn't find out, but at some point Iggy Pop runs out of the room saying he has to get out of here because this guy is nuts about Wilson. I can only imagine that he just kept playing for a good hour or two, and Iggy Pop was ready to, I guess, overdose on Shortening Bread at that point just to get out of it. I just remember reading about it, and it's this really weird song as well. Like the Andrews Sisters and a couple of other versions are very like in that style of music, that old timey version. His version though is like the Beach Boys version is like so weird. It's so dissonant. It just has all of this random sounds in the background, but that kind of weirdly fit. It's a weird song. I love that YouTube video. I love that YouTube video where I think it's the Beach Boys, or is it the Vega Boy? No. The Beach Boys. Yeah. Someone did a non-AI version. This was just their own singing of the Beach Boys' "Shawty Got Low." Or Apple Bottom Jeans, boots with the fur. The whole club is looking at her. She hit the floor. Next thing you know, shawty got low. They did a Beach Boys version of that, and it's almost like a barbershop. It's one of my favorite videos of all time. I have to say, it's absolutely incredible. It sounds so good. It's so good. But yeah, so that's kind of, I guess that's some little funny things that happened to me today. And a little update on my toesies, which are definitely getting better, thankfully. I'm still able to like walk around, like every now and again I'll just put a bit too much weight on them, and it will hurt a little bit, but it's okay. But excuse me. I think I'm going to do a little bit of reading today. We're going to return to our book, The Theological Origins of Modernity, by Michael Allen Gillespie. When last we left off, we were kind of in the middle of the first chapter, sort of that dealt with various things mainly looking at the nominalist revolution against the scholastics who had a more realist view. We looked at the rise, the coming of William of Ockham, humanism's influence from this debate, as well as just the nominalists in general. And now we're getting into, the Reformation. Martin Luther, probably one of the biggest events, one can argue, that comes out of this. It's sort of immediate impact, I would say. Of course, I did a whole breakdown on the second half of this. Or sorry, not the second half. The second reading stream, technically, for this book that you guys can find on my VOD channel if you want to get a deeper insight into the overall arching kind of theory of the book. But I think I'm gonna get into it now because I started a little bit later than usual. So let's try and get a nice dent into it, shall we? And so yeah, please sit back, enjoy, get comfy, lie down to go to sleep if that's what you're going to use my voice for. I am going to try and lean a little bit more into the whole, I guess, ASMR aspect of this. I think rather than just reading, trying to keep it relaxed and cozy. If you just want my voice as accompaniment while you're doing stuff while you're doing things and I'm just in the background, feel free. And if you're especially interested in this stuff like I am, then I do certainly hope you enjoy. You got some work to do, no worries, clever. Enjoy and do some fine work. Be productive. But let's get into it, shall we? Luther, that being Martin Luther, was the father of the Reformation, and his life and thought were in many ways a reaction to the problems posed by nominalism. However, in his response to nominalism, excuse me, I should probably pick up the book that I'm reading. He followed a path that was radically different from that of the humanists, not away from God towards man, but from man back to God. The humanists had sought to reform Christianity, but Luther's idea of Reformation was more radical and all-encompassing. The Reformation had been described as the last great upsurge of medieval religiosity, and while not entirely false, this claim conceals the astonishing extent to which the Reformation Christianity rejects medieval Christianity on essentially nominalist grounds. Luther's example makes this clear. As a young man, Luther was an alchemist, but he was troubled by the impenetrability of the God nominalism had described, and tormented by the consequent uncertainty of his own personal salvation. Luther's concern with personal salvation could hardly be stilled by a God who was unstillness itself, who today might save the saints and damn the sinners, but today do the exactly the reverse. Peter picked a pipe. I actually don't even know what that saying is. Peter picked a peck? A peck, I think it is. Peter picked a peck of pickled peppers. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? A woodchuck could chuck as much wood as a woodchuck could chuck wood if a woodchuck would chuck wood. I just started saying things. Luther's personal quest for certainty vis-a-vis this God was intertwined with his struggle against corruption in the Church. The corruption of the Church in Luther's mind was bound up with the doctrine of works and the sale of indulgences in particular. Luther rejected the redemptive power of works on nominalist grounds. Thank you so much, Akachi. Thank you for the follow. If what was preeminent in God and by extension in man was the will, then sin could only be remitted through right willing, regardless of the result. But right willing depended not on man but on God. Luther's answer to the question of indulgences was thus his answer to the problem of the nominalist God. Faith alone saves. Luther accepted the nominalist notion of man as a willing being, but transformed this notion by reconfiguring the relationship of divine and human will. Faith, according to Luther, is the will to union with God, but faith can only come from God through Scripture. Faith in Scripture, in other words, guarantees salvation. At first glance, it is difficult to see how Scripture solves the problem posed by nominalism, since the reliance on Scripture seems to assume the invariance on what God ordained, an invariance that nominalism explicitly rejects. Luther, however, gives Scripture a different status. In his view, it is not simply a text, but a means by which God speaks directly to man. Faith arises from hearing the voice of God. God's power is thus not something abstract and distant, but acts always in and through us. In this way, Luther was able to transform the terrifying God of nominalism into a power within individual beings. The Christian is reborn in God because God is born in him. And there's a note here. 37. Luther insists on the necessity of Scripture and rejects the extreme subjectivism of the evangelicals who followed not the Word of God, but the illumination they received in direct communication with God, their so-called inner light. Hello, Wazdop. Hello. You haven't been here for a while. Long time no see. Well, it's lovely to see you back, Wazdop. Always, Wadzop. Wadzop. I was putting the Z before the D there. Wadzop. Wadzop. Welcome in. I hope you've been well, though. I hope you've been well. It's always nice to see an old face popping in. We're just doing a little bit of reading. I hope you've been good. Hydrate, redeem. Hang on a second. Let me go grab my bottle of water. Wait, where did I put it? I got it. Hang on. Ooh, squishy. Wait, what am I doing? I have a cup of tea right here. You haven't been doing the best, but you appreciate it. You're probably going to lurk and read yourself. Well, I hope whatever is going on improves for you, and I hope if it's just something that can do so, that it works out all right. And if it's just something you have to, deal with, then I hope everything is okay. I hope I can at least maybe distract you a little bit, perhaps. But do enjoy, do get cozy. Reading while I'm reading in the background is interesting. I don't know if I could do that. I often listen to ASMR when I am reading, but usually it's usually just like tapping or inaudible whispering. I don't know if I could. I'd probably just try listen to the other person read. But I do hope it's more of a waiting game, but you appreciate my words. I see. Well, I hope it turns out okay. And hello, D. Welcome in. How's my favorite angel girl doing? I so love that demote. I love that demote so much. It's so cute. I love it's a combination of a wave and a heart. How you doing? I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing alright. My foot's feeling better. My foot's a lot better. Excellent, angel. Whenever you read, you need whispers or something in the background. You just find it soothing. That's fair. I like tapping and whispers, I suppose. Yeah. I could do it whispers. Did I change my sound setup? Why does it seem... I suppose I'm talking a little bit... I guess I'm leaning more into the ASMR thing. It might be you. Do I sound different? Wait. I'm kind of talking up here, I suppose. I am dropping it down a slight bit. I I feel like being a little bit deeper might be nicer for ASMR, I'm not too sure. But usually I'm up here. I feel like usually when I'm talking, I'm kind of in this range. So maybe this feels a little bit more natural for you. For, I. Clever. You just took off my ear. How dare you? Be careful with it. Oh, it me. Were you. I wonder, what was the issue? What was the issue? Was I. Did you not have something plugged in correctly? Sometimes I have that. I don't plug in my headphone fully. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. You like the usual voice? I always feel like deeper voices are nicer though. Well, on a male voice. Although I've seen a few nice deep voiced ASMR women. Um but on a mailer voice. It makes me think of Anti-Mailer from ECW Extreme Tuba Wrestling, who's meant to be a representation of every uh, of all of the anti-male viewers. Your sound was routing to through a different speaker. Ah, okay, okay. I wonder how that happened. That was weird. Maybe you were changing some settings or something by accident. Um, but yeah, it's hard to it is hard to decide. I think I'll play around with it. I'll see how I prefer it. I don't know. There's still so many things, I guess. I don't know. I do love that X. I think it's X on the mouth. Mm, mm. My chin moves with me. You guys can see when I'm thinking, when I'm really going, It looks kind of silly. Whatever is most comfortable to speak in is good. That is true. I haven't really tried speaking down here, I suppose, much. And I do know that reading a lot of pages certainly gets my. It's much more taxing on the voice than just a regular stream. Even if I'm chatting away to someone or commenting on a game for like 3-4 hours, which doesn't happen often, I know, but reading is a lot different, I find. The model looks great. Last time you were here, you believed I was just a PNG. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Wadzop. Yes, I debuted this back in September. I love it so much. You probably had my old, not my sketchy self, but my shorter haired version who didn't have the cloak and the book and all this. My mama and papa did a wonderful job. I think they really just kind of made me like I don't feel like anything was lost in terms of like what people might have felt was Rua. I feel like it still is Rua. It's very much the essence of Rua, just more fancy. Where were we? Ah, yes. Occam proclaimed the individuality of every being as a unique creation of God, but he saw the radical separation of God and man as an impenetrable barrier to human understanding and an insuperable barrier to the human will. He thus turned to Scripture, but even Scripture only revealed the momentary determination of a distant God's will, which might at any moment be otherwise. Luther, too, saw God as a deus absconditus, who could not be philosophically analyzed or understood. He, too, turned to Scripture as the sole source of guidance. In contrast to the nominalist, however, he recognized that a difference between God and man could be bridged by the scriptural infusion of divine will that banishes all doubts. In contrast to the humanists, however, this was not because man willed in the same way that God willed, that is, creatively, but because he willed what God willed, that is, morally and piously. Man does not become a demigod, but becomes the dwelling place of God. God becomes the interior and guiding principle of his life, or what Luther calls consciousness, or conscience. Sorry, not conscious, conscience. Neither the humanists nor the reformers saw themselves as founding a new age, or initiating something distinctively new. Rather, they understood their task as restoring something ancient and traditional. In doing so, however, they found themselves entwined within the conflict about the relationship of the divine and the human that had bedeviled Christianity from the very beginning. Italian humanism suggested in a Promethean fashion that man could lift himself to the level of God, or even in some respects become God. In this sense, it was clearly Pelagian, or at least semi-Pelagian. Remember, Pelagianism was the belief that mankind could save itself through its own acts, that it did not need God to do so. Humanism's thank you, Zan. Thank you for the head pat. Very sweet. Thank you, thank you. Where were we? I get head patted and I lose where I was. Humanism's vision of man was thus incompatible with divine omnipotence, and with the notion that God was God. Without such a God, however, it was difficult to see how man could be more than an animal. The Reformation was not directed merely against the abuses of the Church, but also against this Pelagian humanism. God for the Reformers was omnipotent, and man was nothing without God. The idea of a free human will was thus an illusion. This anti-Pelagian and anti-humanist position, however, was equally unsatisfying. For if the human will is utterly impotent, then God and not man is the source of evil, and humans cannot be held morally responsible for their actions. While humanism thus could not sustain a notion of divine omnipotence, it also could not exist without it. Similarly, Reformation theology could not countenance a free human will, and yet could not sustain the notion of a good God in its absence. The humanists and reformers were thus entwined in an antinomy from which there was no escape. They were thus inevitably brought into conflict. This disagreement appears in its clearest light in the debate between Erasmus and Luther over the freedom or bondage of the will, but also in the disastrous wars of religion that raged across Europe for more than 100 years. Humanism and the Reformation founded their views on the world of man and God respectively. These choices were rooted in the long history of Christianity, and the conflict that arose between them was in many ways a reflection of the contradictions that had been present in Christianity since the beginning. In the midst of this conflict, a small group of thinkers sought a new path, abandoning both God and man as the foundation of their investigations, turning instead to the natural world. Modernity proper in this way begins with the goal of developing a science that will make man master and possessor of nature. This project was deeply indebted to nominalism in many different and important ways. Nominalism destroyed the ontological ground of medieval science by positing a chaotic world of radically individual beings. Indeed, for the nominalist, the world itself is only a higher order sign, an aid to the understanding that does not correspond to any reality. Nominalism, thus, seems to make science impossible. In fact, however, modern science developed out of nominalism as a result of a reconsideration of the meaning of nominalist ontology. Scholastic metaphysics understood God as the highest being and creation as a rational order of beings stretching up to God. From the nominalist perspective, however, such an order is untenable, not only because each being is radically individual, but also because, perhaps more importantly, because God himself is not a being in the same sense as all created beings. From my understanding, God on the scholastic side is also unique. Well, he's unique. His uniqueness is an attribute, actually. Divinely simple. He isn't even a being. He isn't a being in the sense of genre and species. How can I explain this? Can I draw a circle? Can I draw like circles? on OBS? I don't think I can. How can I explain this? So, draw the circles. I don't know how. Okay, I'll just explain it. It's Venn diagram. That's all you need to know. Basically, the idea, at least from an Aristotelian perspective, is you have a species and you have genre. Genre being the thing that maybe individual species within a genre, the specification or the way that it's, you need the promised circles. No, okay, wait, hang on. I should have Microsoft Draw. Wait, is that a thing? Is Draw a thing? I feel like it is. I don't have that. I have Paint. Wait. I have Paint. Hang on. I'm gonna go studio mode before I do this. And do it somewhere else. What the hell do I use? My God, I haven't added I haven't added something to OBS in a while. Excuse me a moment. Oh, window capture would be fine, I imagine. Yeah, MS Paint. That's the one I want. Eh? Why is it blank? Eh? No, you can't see it. It's not showing. No, why is Paint not showing? This is a disaster. It hates me. Mean. I'm sorry, you guys. We'll have to do without the circles. It's just Venn diagrams. That's all it is. But basically, the argument for the distinctness of God under scholastic perception is, again, going back to Aristotle and the whole idea of substances and accidents and species and genre, is that, so genre is like, so you might have the genre of animality, and within animality you have the various species of things. So you have humans, dogs, and obviously you can further break down. Under science, obviously, we've broken down these things into much more distinct categories. But from a general perspective, a sort of metaphysical one, you have man, wolf, cat, all of these different things. And obviously we define species by various characteristics materially. Again, going back to kind of the material basis. But for Aristotle and them, they wouldn't have done it this way. They would have done it a bit differently. They would say that, and the scholastics, they would say, well, if you have a man and a dog, or a wolf, they both participate in the, not the form. I'm just going to try and make sure. As part of their essence, they have the form of animality within them, as part of their makeup, of their various causes. So, animality is a distinction of them, is their genre. But if you were to say of man and dog or wolf, well, what is it that differentiates them, that separates them, that specifies them, their speciation, their species? You wouldn't say, well, it's their animality. One has more animality than the other, because they both contain animality from this perspective, the kind of characteristic of having animality. So, you would have to go outside the genre of animality. Now, I think for Aristotle, for example, man is a social being, or a rational being, rational being. So you would add rationality to animality, and that kind of brings you into getting a human. Now, obviously, I'm sure there's a lot more to that, but that's a very basic breakdown of the idea within Aristotle's thought of genre and species. But if you do this with God, for instance, or, well, more so being, let's say the characteristic of being, that being, well, to be, to exist, or to yeah, to exist really. And outside of being is non-being, is nothing. Now you can't think of nothing as non-being, as a blank space, or an area where there is nothing. No, it is no thing. It is not even a space. It is not a state. It is not. Sometimes physicists talk about this, and they talk about, the underlying electromagnet. It's no. There's no electromagnet waves in non-being. There is nothing. It is not even a void. It's not a space for things that could be. It is nothing. So if you look at being as a genre, and you try and define being as a genre, you wouldn't be able to, because you would be saying, for instance, that me and D both have being in a similar way. We both exist, for instance. We both have being. But if we were to say, well, what specifies me from D? What distinguishes D and me? You do be, you D be do be da 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 ba da da dee do be da. What were we talking about? Well, D is angel and girl, exactly. But angel and girl in these things distinguishes. Very nice. Thank you. The two things Ruadh is not. Yes, that is true. I am not an angel and I am not a girl. Possibly Toede, whenever he gets around to it, maybe proving that with some art. But we will see. Anyway. But if you were to use, so for example, you would say, well, what distinguishes, Oh, excuse me a moment. Sorry there. Something just happened. I think it's okay. You know what? I'll just continue. I think it's okay. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Where was I? Okay. Yeah. So you pointed out, Clever, that Angel and girl, for instance, would be how you would specify me between myself and D. Well, how you specify D, but girl in this instance and an angel both have existence. If you were to say, well, the genre or the species of or the attribute of girl and an angel, well, they also have being. They are a form of existence, a form of being. So you can't really say that. What you would essentially be saying is that, well, the thing that distinguishes these two beings is, well, one has more being than the other. You might say that they have different being, but you're still within the same genre. So this idea of being as a genre is a bit of an issue. Is a bit of a as being as the same thing that, like, to be as a simple genre is a bit of an issue. I think I kind of apply that to, in my head anyway, the way I understand scholasticism. Might be wrong though. Is you know, God for the scholastics is being itself, is the ground of being, is his essence, is his existence. But that is radically distinct from the kind of beings that we are. Being isn't a genre. Sorry, my mind's kind of focused on something else. You hope everything's fine. Thank you. I think it should be. I think it was more of a fright than anything. I kind of made sure that things were okay and that I wasn't needed. Yeah, you know, I apologize. I'm slightly thrown. I might just get back to my reading. but thank you, Heads Up, and thank you, Dee, for the head pat. Scholastic metaphysics. Oh yeah. From nominalist perspective, however, such an order is untenable, because God himself is not a being in the same sense as all created beings. Yeah, actually, you know what? I guess that is different from the scholastics. While Occam points to this gulf between God and his creation, he doesn't extensively explore it. This task was undertaken by the great thinker whose path crossed with that of Occam and Petrarch in Avignon, the German mystic Meister Eckhart. Eckhart was deeply influenced by Neoplatonism, although his Neoplatonism was transfigured by his mysticism. Like Occam, Eckhart saw an infinite distance between God and the world, from the perspective of the beings we encounter in everyday life. God thus seems to be nothing. In Eckhart's view, however, this issue must be examined from a divine rather than a human perspective, not logically but mystically. From this perspective, it is not God but the beings of the world that are nothing, or at least they are nothing without God. Since, however, these beings in some sense are, they must be God. That is, God must be in beings in some way. Without him, they would be pure nothingness. However, the infinite difference between God and his creation means that God cannot be things as their whatness or essence. God, Eckhart suggests, is in them in a different sense, as their how, their operative force that determines their becoming. So rather than being, it's becoming. The other side, change. In nominalistic terms, God is pure willing, pure activity, or pure power. And this world is its becoming. In its becoming is divine will, in this God. Or in more modern terms, the world is a ceaseless motion that is determined by divine will, understood as efficient or mechanical causality. The world is the incarnation, the body of God, and he is in the world as the soul is in the body, omnipresent as the motive principle. Definitely want to see if he has a note for this, because that's very similar to the idea of pure act. Am I in the right pages? No, I need to flick back a little bit more. Here we are. It was 38. Creation is thus not simply disorder. God is in the world in a new and different sense than scholasticism and traditional metaphysics envisioned. He is not the ultimate whatness or quiddity of all beings, but their howness or becoming. To discover the divinely created order of the world, it is thus necessary to investigate becoming, which is to say it is necessary to discover the laws governing the motion of all beings. Theology and natural science thereby become one and the same. Rationalism and materialism both work within this general understanding of the relationship of God and his creation, but they differ considerably in their understanding of the meanings of this relationship. Rationalism, for the most part, understands this identification of God and his creation pantheistically. The motion of nature, therefore, is the motion of God, and nature's laws are the forms and structures of the divine will. Rationalist science thus is theologically grounded not in scripture, but in the deduction of the laws of motion from transcendental will or freedom. Materialism, by contrast, understands the meaning of the identification of God and creation atheistically. To say that God of nominalism, understood as Occam understood him, is in everything in the way Eckhart and later Nicholas of Cusa suggested, is to say that everything is willfulness, motion, without purpose or end, and without any necessary regularity. Viewed in this manner, there is no effective difference between the nominalist cosmos and a godless universe of matter and motion. The existence or non-existence of God is irrelevant for the understanding of nature, since he can neither increase nor decrease the chaos of radical individuality that characterizes existence. Science thus does not need to take this God or scripture into account in its efforts to come to terms with the natural world and can rely instead on experience alone. Atheistic materialism thus has a theological origin in the nominalist revolution. Materialism, it is true, also draws upon ancient atomism and Epicureanism, but both of these are received and understood within what was already an essentially nominalist view of the world. Let me just stop possible ads from coming in. We don't like those. We hate ads. Ads, I hate. This new understanding of becoming or change as a manifestation of divine will is the ontological foundation for the self-consciousness of modernity. Since Plato, being had been understood as timeless, unchanging presence. Change was always a falling away from being, degeneration. Nominalism called this motion into question with its assertion that God himself was not only subject to change, but was perhaps even change itself. The changeable cosmos was no longer seen as falling away from perfection, no longer merely the moving image of eternity, as Plato put it in the Timaeus. Change was not simply degeneration. While this new view of becoming was never entirely spelled out, and was consequently troubling to modern thinkers who strove repeatedly to discover an unchanging ontological ground of becoming, it was a crucial step away from both ancient and medieval notions of time and change. If change was not simply degeneration, then some change may be progressive. Change guided by an enlightened humanity may produce good. Progress in this way is opened up as a human possibility. The ability of the will to master the world was already clear to the Renaissance humanists such as Machiavelli, but the reliance on individual prowess and willingness made a thorough mastery of nature inconceivable to them. Inconceivable. Human finitude meant that even the greatest individuals would inevitably succumb to all-conquering time. Mastering nature thus would require something more than a merely individual will. Early modern thinkers argued that this problem could be solved only if human beings came to understand that science is not an individual accomplishment, but a broadly based social or political enterprise. In this way, it was possible to imagine a human will of unlimited longevity that might finally master the natural world. Francis Bacon, 1561 to 1626, is often characterized as the father of modern science. Like his nominalist predecessors, Bacon rejected realism. Hello, Olga Okami. Thank you so much for the raid. Thank you. Hello, Olga. Hello. I hope you had a wonderful stream. Let me very quickly shout you out. At Olga Okami. How are you? How was your stream? I hope you are having a wonderful time. For those of you who don't know, Olga is a wonderful streamer who often does some very cozy content. She has a lovely ESL Russian accent, and the way she phrases things was great. You were drawing today. You did 3 stickers. Oh my god! I saw you. She has done a couple of other stickers recently as well, and now you've done another 3 more. Olga, you are being super productive. Are you just hyper these days? You're just like, you have to do things. I'm looking forward to seeing them though. Do post them somewhere so I can see them. I'm guessing maybe they're on Twitch. But welcome in. You got tummy hurt today, so was mostly silent, but hope to feel better soon. Oh no. I hope tummy hurt goes away soon. Tummy hurt is the true rival of all VTubers. Tummy hurt is a danger to everything. I mean Gura has been tummy hurt for who knows how long. You found out that 1 piece of pecan pie is okay, but 2 pieces make you pecan. Oh no. Your eyes were bigger than your tummy, huh, Olga? Your eyes were bigger than your tummy. You trusted yourself too much. You overestimated your abilities. It was joke of the day. I like that joke. That joke makes me giggle. But welcome in, everyone. My name is Ruadh Uaquilta. I'm a half-human, half-Tuatha. That's of the God peoples of Ireland. I do various content from... I haven't done a singing stream in a while, but I do like music. I do like singing. I do a lot of ASMR in the form of reading, which we're currently doing. We're currently reading a book that's titled The Theological Origins of Modernity by Michael Allen Gillespie. Yes, this is quite a heavy topic. It's effectively the argument that all of modernity can be traced back to a single debate within the church back in the later medieval period, of realism versus nominalism, the belief in universals versus the, belief that universals don't exist. It is quite heavy going, but I don't expect you. There is going to be no test, don't worry. Well, not for now anyway. I just do this as a way to share my interests with you guys, and for you guys to maybe get cozy like little Ruru over there, and to be nice and chilled out. So you're more than welcome to put me on in the background to have as a gentle voice to maybe lull you to sleep, or just to keep you company while you work on whatever. You were eating it for 4 days in a row, 1 piece without punishment, but 2 pieces got you off guard. It was the last 2 pieces and last day before expiration. Oh no. The pie will only get worse, but tummy will heal. You know what? You may be feeling sick right now, but I do hope that pecan pie, Olga, I do hope that pecan pie was worth it. I hope it was nice and tasty. We don't really do pecan pie much here in Ireland. At least I don't try it much. For us, for Christmas time anyway, the main dessert would be a souffle with ice cream, and then also not souffle, and you can have ice cream with it if you like. And then also the next day, so that's we have 2 big kind of Christmas dinners: Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and St. Stephen's Day. The day before, it's all kind of just finger food. Like Christmas Eve is like finger food for dinner. Pecan pie is weird. It's bad in being too sweet, but you can't stop eating. Olga has a sweet tooth, which makes sense. Olga's a very sweet girl. Very wonderful streamer. It's diabetes speedrun. No, Olga, don't get diabetes. I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you in like a year's time being the new diabetes man. That should be. that should be a. That should be a command on your stream. Diabetes, and you just like. Either he appears or like. No, no. You know what? I'm not gonna say the second part because the architects would be like, yes, the architects would love that. We will stay away from that suggestion. I don't just do reading, by the way, though. I also do. I also do the odd gaming streams. Well, not the odd gaming streams. I'm just playing Baldur's Gate for years. For a year now. That game is too long. I did not anticipate this. I will finish it, but I've only just hit the third act, and apparently it's like at least the size of an act and a half, which is concerning. But we'll get through it. I love that sus emote. It's so good. I do. I love Olga's salute emote. I think that's great. But yeah, I'm going to get back to my reading. So typically, I read kind of history, philosophy, because those are my interests, I suppose. And I play the odd game here and there that can relate to that as well. This book is definitely on the more heavier side. If you do have an interest on such a topic, I might suggest you check out my VOD channel, which is just like Ruadh Quilta VODs, and you watch the second reading stream, number 2 of this, where it's not really a reading stream; it's much more of a presentation on the nominalism, on kind of the core theme of the book, the idea of it, of nominalism and realism, and that debate, and how it. How modernity springs from this. So quite heavy going, I must say. But I did that as kind of a unique thing, a different thing this time around, doing a presentation beforehand. To kind of try and give a bit of background. But we will now continue. So thanks so much again, Olga, for the raid. Very much appreciated. Now, where were we? Ah, yes. Francis Bacon is often characterized as the father of modern society, of modern science. I promise I'm good at reading. Like his novelist predecessors, Bacon rejected realism both in its scholastic and in its classical form. He agreed with the nominalists that in nature nothing really exists beside individual bodies performing purely individual acts. As a result, the universe is a labyrinth that is impenetrable to unaided human reason. Previous thinkers in Bacon's view did not make any progress through this labyrinth because they did not use the powers available to them to attain this end, relying instead on mere observation and over-hastily generalization. There are various reasons for such ineptitude, and Bacon describes them in great detail in the New Organon, in his famous discussion of the 4 idols or false notions that have become rooted in the mind. Human beings have come to believe that all they need to know comes from their immediate experience. Consequently, they have been unwilling or unable to verify their generalizations by the examinations of particulars. They have thus been content to guess rather than know, and have put the dreams of the imagination in place of real knowledge. Even in his own time, when realism had been called into question, Bacon believed that men were still deterred from such an investigation by an undue reverence for antiquity, and by the belief that scientific progress was impossible because of the obscurity of nature, the shortness of life, the deceitfulness of the senses, the weakness of the judgment, the difficulty of the experiment, and the like. What is needed, he argued, is a total reconstruction of the science, the arts and human knowledge on a proper foundation. There's a series of notes here that are referenced. Let's check them, see if there's any interesting notes. It was 40 to 41. No, it's just a load of references. I hate when books' notes are just references. There should be a bibliography. And then there should be the notes page. The knowledge that Bacon seeks differs profoundly from that of scholasticism. He is not concerned with what nature is and what it tends towards, that is, the formal or final cause of things, but with the particular character and motion of matter, that is, with material and efficient causality. In other words, he wants to know not what nature is, but how it works. And his goal is thus not theory or speculation, but the practical betterment of the human condition. When nature is comprehended in this manner, it can be made to produce works that are useful for human life. For when we understand the properties of particulars, we will be able to bring them together in ways that will produce the effects we desire. Bacon's ultimate aim is to produce a model of nature, not as a static system of categories, but as a dynamic whole, as the interacting operation of all particulars. To understand nature in this way is to comprehend nature as power. Bacon believed that the power that arose from the knowledge of nature could carry humanity to hitherto unimaginable heights. However, in this view, such knowledge can only be gained by first lowering oneself, by subordinating oneself to nature and limiting the exercise of one's own will. To master and command nature, it is necessary first to be the servant and interpreter of nature. For Bacon, the goal of science is thus not the mere felicity of speculation, but the real business and fortunes of the human race, and all power of operation. For man is but the servant and interpreter of nature. What he does and what he knows is only what he has observed of nature's order in fact or in thought. Beyond this he knows nothing and can do nothing. For the chain of causes cannot by any force be loosened or broken, nor can nature be commanded except by being obeyed. And so these twin objects, human knowledge and human power, do really meet in one, and it is from ignorance of causes that operations fail. The presupposition of such knowledge is the humiliation of the human spirit, since success depends upon abandoning our proud belief that we occupy a superior place in the order of creation. Instead of acting as lords of creation in the way that humanism suggested, we must become apprentices in nature's workshop. We do not need great wit or individual excellence, but a dogged persistence and obedience to the surest rules and demonstrations. While humility gains us entrance to the study of nature, cruelty is the means by which we reach our end. Mere experience will take us only into nature's other courts. To come to nature's inner chambers, we must tear it to pieces, constraining, vexing, dissecting, and torturing nature in order to force it to reveal the secret entrances to its treasure chambers. Only as merciless servants who bind and torture their master to learn the source of his power can we win from nature the knowledge of its hidden forces and operations. On the basis of this knowledge, we can then produce a line and race of inventions that may in some degree subdue and overcome the necessities and miseries of humanity. Bacon thus offers a new and revolutionary answer to the problem posed by nominalism and the nominalist God. He confronts and accepts the nominalist vision of the world and attempts to find a solution to its fundamental problems. He seeks neither a poetic transfiguration of this world, nor a new covenant with its God. Instead, he strives to discover the hidden powers by which nature moves in order to gain mastery over it. For Bacon, as for Occam and Petrarch, man is a willing being who seeks to secure himself in the world. In contrast to both Franciscan asceticism and the humanist notion of godlike individuality, however, Bacon imagines man to be a relatively weak and fearful being, who can only succeed by consistently working with his fellow human beings over many years to learn nature's laws and turn this knowledge to human use. It is a very democratic character of Bacon's project that makes its success conceivable. It does not depend upon the exercise of great and thus rare genius, but upon the consistent application of ordinary intelligence to a series of small problems that can be easily analyzed. Bacon in this way differs considerably from his humanist predecessors. The hero of knowledge that Bacon imagines in his New Atlantis, for example, is not a sparkling, great-souled man, but a solemn, priest-like, and unheroic scientist who is willing to investigate not merely the beautiful and noble, but the low and foul. For like Bacon, he knows that, quote, whatever deserves to exist deserves also to be known. While Bacon laid the first bricks of the new science on a nominalistic foundation, it was Galileo, Descartes, and Hobbes who raised its walls. Bacon's method, in fact, was ill-suited to the comprehension of nature understood as matter in motion. Its unmitigated nominalistic focus on individual beings as an inductive method rendered it incapable of grasping motion as such. Galileo's transposition of motion into the abstract world of geometry and his new understanding of inertia were crucial steps that made modern mathematical science possible. On this foundation, Descartes and Hobbes developed alternative models or visions of the modern scientific enterprise. Let me just see if there's any notes here to take note of. Not that I can see. Nope. The difference between Descartes and Hobbes are crucial and central to the bifurcation of modernity. There is one strain of modern thought that begins with Descartes and includes Leibniz, Malebranche, Spinoza, Kant, Fichte, Hegel, Schopenhauer, and most contemporary continental philosophers. There is a second, beginning with Hobbes, Locke, Hume, and Mill, and that includes many contemporary Anglo-American thinkers. These two strains of thought represent alternative answers to the fundamental problem posed by the nominalist God within the framework of modern science. The differences between them turn on in a number of issues, but the question of nature and relationship of man and God is of central importance. Man, for Bacon, is a part of nature. He thus, quote, can do so much and so much only as he has observed in fact or in thought of the course of nature. Beyond this he knows nothing, nor can do anything. Man is a natural being subject to all the constraints of nature. While he can ameliorate his condition and in a limited sense master the natural world, he thus remains a part of nature and not its creator. Descartes offers us a different... Fox, I'm reading. Stop. No. How dare you poking me in the face? Well, welcome in, Fox. It's nice to see you. Poking my face. My face is all feeling weird now. Descartes offers us a different vision of the modern project. His thinking, too, was deeply influenced by the problem of the nominalist God, but his solution to this problem was different in decisive respects from that of Bacon. Just stopping in to say hi? Is that how you say hi, Fox? You poke me in the face? That's a pretty good way to say hi, actually. We should start doing that. We just gently poke people in the face. Okay, next time I say hi to you and Wolf, I'll poke you guys in the face. I think that's only fair. Or is it only for me that people say hi by poking me in the face? Maybe that's how it works. But that feels unbalanced. That feels unbalanced against me. A little bit unfair. It's only for me? I guess I'll just have to put up with being poked. At least every now and again I get like head patted and like people hold my face. So that makes up for it. But I hope you're having a nice start to your week. I know Mondays never are very nice, but I do hope yours is going all right. Thank you. What's up? Head pat. In particular, he has a radically different notion of man's position with respect to both God and nature. In his early thought, Descartes was convinced that he could construct an apodictic science on the basis of mathematics. Such a science, he believed, could produce a mathematical representation of all motion that would allow human beings to truly master nature, make them not merely to ameliorate human misery, as Bacon had hoped, but actually manage to make man the immortal lord of all of creation. This initial project was called into question by Descartes' realization that the idea of a truly omnipotent God undermined the certainty of mathematics. This realization led to the spiritual quest that ended with Descartes' articulation of his famous principle, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am, as the foundation of all human knowledge. The scientific project, as Descartes lays it out in his mature thought, is thus a clear response to the problem posed by nominalism. What distinguishes the Cartesian solution to this problem from that of Bacon is evident in his fundamental principle, for it grounds all of modern thought on an autonomous subject who not only transcends nature, but is also able to resist, and ultimately challenge or even replace God himself. Man, for Descartes, becomes master and possessor of nature by dispossessing its current owner, that is, by taking it away from God. This is possible because man, in some sense, already is God, or at least is the same infinite will that constitutes God. Shirtless? Shirtless command? I don't have a shirtless command, Billy. How dare you coming in here trying to make me shirtless? I mean, you can already see a little bit of my chest. Isn't that enough for you guys? Isn't that enough for you? You want to undress me? How dare you guys? How dare you? How dare you? I mean, there was art recently. There was art recently by Auxilia Genome. I'm not gonna show the art on stream because I actually think that could potentially get me in a teensy bit of trouble. But for you guys, I guess I will. I guess I might just copy it into chat. Billy, you might like this. You might like this art. Let me just make sure that Auxilia Genome was doing a very cool little thing that he does around this time of year. I think he did it for like 36 or 37 VTubers. Very impressive. But come on. There we go. But yeah, it's a subtly, not subtle at all, not safe for work image. You don't have Twitter? Oh no, Billy. Billy, do you have Discord? You can join the Discord. Hello, TK45546713. Olga Raid. Thank you so much for joining from Olga's Raid. That should work. There you go. And you can see down in the not safe for work. The not safe for work stuff. You might already be there, I'm not too sure. But yeah, you can see that art. Auxilia did a great job. The Cartesian notion of science thus rests upon a new notion of man as a willing being, a model on the omnipotent God of nominalism, and able, like him, to master nature through the exercise of his infinite will. Descartes draws here not merely upon nominalism, but upon the humanist ideal of a self-creating and self-sufficient individual, and upon Luther's idea of the conjunction of the human and divine will. It is this potent combination that gives rise to the notion of subjectivity that plays a central role in rationalism, idealism, and later continental thought as well. Insofar as Descartes both leaves man within nature as a body in motion and elevates him above it into a quasi-omnipotence, he lays the groundwork for inevitable and irredeemable dissatisfaction that poses tremendous moral and political dangers for modernity. The infinite human will constantly strives to master and transcend the body, but is itself in the same time always bodily. In its striving to realize its infinite essence, it must always negate the finite. Such a negation, however, is impossible. As idealistic and noble as its aspirations may be, Idealism in its practical form thus constantly faces a millenarian temptation to use ever more extreme means of control to achieve its unachievable ends. Hobbes has a more limited view of human capacities than Descartes. Man, for Hobbes, is a piece of nature, a body in motion. Like the nominalists, Hobbes believed that this motion is not theologically determined, but in contrast to them, he sees it not as random, but as mechanical. It neither realizes its essence in Aristotelian fashion, nor is it attracted to a natural end by love or beauty, but is pushed ever onwards by collisions with other individual objects. Man is therefore moved not by his intrinsic natural impulses, nor by divine inspirations or free will, but by a succession of causal motions. In contrast to Descartes, Hobbes does not see human beings rising above nature. Humans are rather thoroughly natural objects that obey the laws of nature. According to these laws that govern all matter, each of these human objects will remain in a given motion unless this motion is contravened by collision with another body. Such a collision of human objects is conflict, since it limits the continuous and therefore, in Hobbes' view, free motion of the individual. In a densely packed world, the natural state of man is thus a state of war. The purpose of science, as Hobbes understands it, is to organize the motion of both human and non-human bodies to maximize the unimpeded and therefore free motion of human beings. So you start to see the rise of Hobbesian at the beginning of liberalism. Hobbes, some people point to Locke as the beginning of kind of classical liberalism. No, it's Hobbes. And I guess what you can really argue is that it's the nominalists who begin that kind of drive. The importance of free will is vastly diminished in Hobbes' thought. In fact, Hobbes denies that human beings have a free will, characterizing the will as simply the last appetite before action. For Hobbes, human life is lived within nature and is always constrained by the natural world. Man is more a creature than a creator, more governed by laws than law-giving. He is not a transcendent being who might imagine himself a god, but an impelled object whose chief desire is to continue on his prescribed course, with the least interference from others. Most human beings, in Hobbes' view, fear death and consent to be ruled in a state to achieve peace and maximize their free motion. The chief danger to such a rule, and the peace it makes possible, are the desire for glory, the characterized humanism, and the belief that our actions in this life can affect the life to come. That was central to the Reformation. The impact of the desire for glory is mitigated by the Leviathan, who Hobbes characterizes as a mortal god, since no one can compete with him for honor. So the Leviathan in Hobbes' view is basically the state, and not just the state, but the head of state, the supreme monarch of the state, who has complete power, characterized especially by the ability to decide the exception. Wait, no, is that? Yes, I believe that was Hobbes. Yes, because Carl Schmitt was heavily influenced by Hobbes, if I remember correctly. The impact of religious passion is reduced by correct understanding of predestination. Hobbes agrees with Luther and Calvin that everything is predestined, but argues that it is precisely this fact that demonstrates the things we do in this world would have no impact on our salvation. If everything is already determined, then there is nothing anyone can do to either gain or lose salvation. With the elimination of glory and beatitude as motives for human action, Hobbes believes humans will naturally incline to pursue preservation and prosperity. These are lesser goods than earthly or supernatural glory, but they are also less likely to be the source of violent conflict. Hobbes thus seeks to make man master and possessor of nature, not in order to achieve his apotheosis, but in order to satisfy his natural bodily desires. Modernity has two goals: to make man master and possessor of nature, and to make human freedom possible. The question that remains is whether these two are compatible with one another. The debate between Hobbes and Descartes and the objections and replies to the Meditations would suggest that they are not. Indeed, what we see in this debate is the re-emergence of the issues at the heart of the debate between Luther and Erasmus. For Descartes, as for Erasmus, there is human freedom in addition to the causality through nature. For Hobbes, as for Luther, there is only the absolute power of God, as the ultimate cause behind the motion of all matter. In this way, we see the re-emergence at the very heart of modernity of the problematic relationship of the human and the divine that bedeviled Christianity from its beginnings. The modern ontic turn away from man and God to nature, thus as in the end, still assumes a continuing metaphysical and structural importance for the very categories it seeks to transcend. The successors to Hobbes and Descartes in the modern tradition struggle with this question. Thank you, Wads Up, for the hydrate. Very appreciated. My tea is cold by now, so water it is. The Enlightenment in particular is characterized by a series of unsuccessful attempts to solve this problem. The centrality of this problem to the modern enterprise becomes apparent in Kant's antimony doctrine and in the French Revolution. At the end of modernity, we are thus left to confront the question whether there is any solution to this problem within the ontological horizon that modernity opens up, and thus whether modernity, even in its most secular form, can escape from the metaphysical and theological problem with which it begins. Just notice the push-up reward? That gets redeemed quite a bit. For some reason, my viewers enjoy making me do push-ups. Maybe they just like, maybe I should just like put a counting. Maybe they just like hearing me count, though. Could be that. Like, maybe I should just have a counting redeem where I just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I can do a reverse counting redeem. No, you know what? I'm not going to do a reverse counting redeem. Some people use that for weird things. And we will not talk about that. What's up? No. Damn you. Push-ups. Okay. Alright. We'll do this quickly. How many will I do? I'll do them with you. Hell yeah. Oh wait, hang on. I don't have much room. Hell yeah. My room's a bit of a mess right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. There we go. Nice easy 25 push-ups. My room's a bit of a mess right now, I will say. There's a lot of little things around. There we go. Nice and easy. Barely did 17. 17 isn't bad at all. 17 isn't bad at all. What's up? I think the most I've done on stream was like... Did I do 50 during my... Like 50 in a row? I did more than 50 overall, but... I think I think I did 40. I think I did 40 in a row during my my debut stream. My model debut stream. I wonder how many I could do. Just continuously. Maybe someday, if Alpin's here to like hype me up, maybe I can push hard. And then I'll have to like sit here and breathe heavily for like 20 minutes. We gotta mix it up with some squats. You know what? That's not a bad idea. I should add a squat redeem. No, that would get like what would happen is like the push-up routine would get redeemed, then the squat routine would get redeemed, then the push-up routine would get redeemed, and I'd just be doing a circuit. I'd just be doing a circuit of exercises. Mm. He's on to you. Calisthenic stream when I'm not like I mean I do some calisthenic stuff, but I also do weights. Although maybe I should be careful with weights after dropping the barbell on my foot. Nothing broke. Don't worry, Wad's up. I got very lucky. But yeah, I mean I can do a good amount of pull-ups actually. Some days are better than others for random reasons. But I can fairly comfortably do like 10 pull-ups, and then like 12 would be a good first set. Like I can comfortably do 10, and then I can push for more. And these aren't kipping push-ups like a lot of people do. Well, not a lot of people, but some people. That's okay for some people. It is good to get that like using your body in that way, like to use it in an efficient manner. But like if you're targeting your back for training your back, you want to be doing proper pull-ups. Maybe someday, if I ever get like a bar, like a hanging bar in my room, I can do pull-ups. I could put like a little mic stand next to it that just goes right by my face. My God, I just get a whole workout in a stream. Maybe I should add the squat routines though. The more squats I do, the more. I mean, everyone likes a nice rump on someone, so probably should add that. You know, that's one thing that a lot of like 3D models and arts of like reference arts of VTubers seem to be lacking. At least male VTubers. Like if you look at like Niji Sanji and like a lot of others, for some reason they don't have glutes. I mean they do, but they're very flat. The flat back, yeah, it's just a continuation of the back. There's nothing. It's like Vox's, if I remember correctly, Vox has no ass. Zero, zilch. Well, I suppose I think there's like some game, I think it might be Genshin, where it's like people will like look at the back of a character and be like, oh my God, they're so thick, and it's like barely big. When I get my reference done, it might be Japanese beauty standards. Maybe, yeah, I suppose so. They do have standards of like, being quite thin. But I mean, your pet peeve is when people call a Genshin character Bara? Like, no, Bara is a very different thing. Like, Bara is like I would have to be a good bit more muscular, a lot more squarer jaw, a lot more hair. Should I do a Bara Rua one day? I should just get like a hair routine. Just like then, like, if I have it like this, it just adds like chest hair. Forget the term for a hot minute, but I always do scapula push-ups. Used to be big into calisthenics, and I helped with that. Been lacking for months now though. Get back into it, Wads up. Get back into it. I know you can do it. You can get back to being super strong. Soon you'll be coming into my stream in like a couple of months' time. You'll be like, I did like 80 push-ups in a row. And they're not just normal push-ups. It's like they're like body in the air push-ups. I don't even know what that. I know that's a thing, but it's like it's like you're lifting your whole body up. I've been able to do handstand push-ups before, but I need like my feet against something. I can't balance and do a push-up at the same time. But that was when I was like really strong with my overhead press. Used to be able to do that, but stopped because of injury. Calisthenics seems so cool, I have to say. Like the stuff those guys are able to do. I think I'd have to. Well, I wouldn't have to, but It would be cool to get into that a lot more, but I might have to, like, for some of the more holding yourself in air stuff, like, obviously a lot more focus on core work, but also maybe just lose a bit of weight because, I mean, like, losing weight is like one of the best things you can do to up your pull-ups. Because if you're pulling yourself up and you're getting like maybe 5 or 6 at your current weight, if you dropped, assuming you can and it's healthy to do so, you drop like 5 kg, 10 kg, you will start flying up. You went from an L sit, an I sit, or an L sit, I'm assuming L sit, to a handstand without touching the floor, and there was a snapping noise. Oh, what's up? That's so painful. That sounds horrible. You had to wear a glove for months. Oh, you poor. Oh no. That really sucks. I'm sorry that happened to you. That's like I've dealt with injuries before. I have a nagging one in my shoulder and neck that kind of comes at me. I'm sitting down a lot. It's been a lot better though. It's been a lot better. Although I do have one recently, kind of on the back of my hip. I guess I'm an old man now. Oh no. That just came from squatting, which was really weird because I wasn't squatting heavy weight at all. I was doing like 70 kg, and I only did like 3 reps. But maybe my hips were like weirdly placed. Maybe I wasn't focusing on my form correctly, even though I kind of was. I don't know what happened. Maybe I just went down weirdly and something just got kind of pinched. But it is feeling better. It is feeling better, so it's okay. It happened like a week ago, so another week or so should be fine. Is that a goblin I see? Why is the goblin oggying at me? Huh? What are you doing here? What are you doing here, Miss Goblin? What are you doing here, Gwynny? Just staring at me. You're not gonna do what you think I'm gonna do? Or what I think what I think you're gonna do? I don't believe you, but we will see. Your dad had an issue like that? Was caused from a disc slipping and becoming misaligned. I hope that wasn't. I hope I haven't slipped a disc. It's more kind of on. How do I describe it? It's more by the hip, by like the outside of the hip. But I imagine like it's all the same stuff, especially down by the pelvis. But look, I've had like small things here and there where you pull something. I'm sure it will, hopefully, anyway, will heal in like a week or two time. If it doesn't, if it's still the same in 2 weeks, I'll probably go to a GP or a physiotherapist just to be like, hey, can you give me some stuff to strengthen this? Kind of give advice. Old man Ruadh broke a hip. Oh my. Hey, I was squatting when I was doing that. You know what I should do? I need to get back into deadlifts. I think I need to do that. Even just light deadlifts could be a pinched nerve. They start. Yeah, that's what it feels like. It kind of feels like, if I move in a weird way, I can't really figure out. Usually you can figure out what way to move with a pinched nerve that causes it. This one's kind of weird because of the position. I just don't know what motion causes it. It definitely feels like that. You get that little jolt. But it's been okay. It's been okay recently. I'm able to walk around grand, so it should be all right. A bit of rest and relaxation. It could also be like, I have a thing coming up next week. A little exam that could be causing a bit of stress too. So that type of stuff can be all in your head. Not in your head, but like it can worsen it. You pinched a nerve once in the thoracic part of the spine. Olga, that was imitating a heart attack. Your arm was getting numb and you had severe pest. Oh, that sucks. You know what? No, I've done similar. I think I had a similar thing that happened to me with my shoulder. with my shoulder. I had a stiff neck. I had a stiff neck after doing bent over rows one day, but then it went away. It went away after like a day. I was like, okay, that's grand. That's grand. Like I wasn't stiff at all. And then I did benching. I was doing decently heavy benching. I think I was like 95 kg or something. Was it 100 kg? I think it was about 95 kg for like, 5 to 6 reps. And I was grand. I went through the thing fine. And then I just woke up. I could feel my neck was getting a bit stiff again. I was like, fuck's sake. And then I woke up the next day, or in the middle of the night, with searing pain. Oh, fuck, was that painful. I sat up. And the worst part was that my arm was dead. My arm was completely dead. You know when that happens when you sleep on your arm? I feel like that probably made it worse somehow as well. But it was like really sore. I sat up and I had to pick up my arm just to try and move it into position. And when it's all tingly and it's it's so weird. It becomes so heavy to move. Ugh. It was funny to find out in the ER that you are as healthy as a bull. You just needed to decompress. It wasn't even protrusion. You were just having 2 heavy rocks on your shoulders. Olga, yeah, I'm not surprised you're as healthy as a bull, Olga. I'm not surprised. You seem like a very super healthy. Dead arm is the worst. Your 1 rep max was 65 kg. Hey, everyone has different body types, height, weight. Especially if you're a man or a woman, we have different strengths over our. Thank you, Sugar, for the head pat. Thank you. Like one of the things is that women, I don't know if it's comparable, but it's definitely closer. Their leg strength is closer than the difference between upper body. So if a things with pull-ups, for example, if a woman is able to do like 5 pull-ups, that's fairly decent. That's fairly good. While as a guy, I would be aiming. If I was, I don't coach people. Just small wads up. Yeah. I was just mentioning it just as a general thing. But is heavier than you. If you're lifting heavier than yourself on bench, then you're doing really well. Really well. Good job. And remember as well, WhatsApp, you were doing all this kinesthetic stuff as well. So like just like that alone is great stuff. But dead arms are the worst. It's usually my right arm. I am left-handed, by the way. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that. But sometimes it's my left arm as well. But it's like so hard to move. You're just like, usually it's just floppy. I do sometimes when it's not like too painful, like when it's starting to get kind of tingly, but it's not like like weird. You can like lift it up and like throw it around. I do that sometimes. I just kind of throw it. I'm like flop. Legs are fun. Legs are very fun. One of my favorite exercises, I must say, are squats. I need to get back into hip thrusts. No. Stop it. No. Damn you, Sugar. Damn you. Feeling good about yourself? That's good, Wads up. That's good. I'm glad you're feeling good about yourself. Because I would say body weight for people as a bench press is a great goal. It's a great novice goal, and then once you start pushing above it, I don't want to say novice. Like it's like, oh, you should be able to do that in like a month. But it's like one of those things that you work up to. You work up to, and once you hit that, that's a good solid position. Legs used to kill the hell out of you. Hit 210 kg leg press and called it quit. I never did the leg press. I think the heaviest I got on squat was 3 plates, 140 kg, like standing barbell squat. Oh no, did I hit? No, I think I hit 135 kg, and then I think COVID came around and I couldn't push. I was hitting 135 for reps, but I never got the 3 plates, unfortunately. Working out your legs hurts. It's meant to hurt. That's the joy of it. If you don't need to puke after leg press, are you even trying? Maybe I should give leg press a try. Maybe I should try it. But yeah, with the way my shoulder has been, and like neck, I've just been wary about doing legs. And obviously, last time I did fucking squats, I had this weird thing happen in my hip. It's all right though. It'll be okay. I'll get back into it, and I'll just, you know what? It might just be that I have to start from, I'll just squat 60 kg and slowly work back up. The thing is that like, even though I was doing only like 70 kg when I got that pain, it wasn't like the 70 kg was heavy. It felt weird, and then whatever happened. So maybe I just moved weirdly. Like I felt like I can fairly confident in myself that I can squat 100 kg reps, because I've always been able, not always, but decently. Squats are functionally better. Leg press is very isolated, fun but less benefit. Well, yeah, it's like any big full body movement. Compound movements are the best you can do for like overall strength. And then isolations can be great for growing or targeting special something. Might have to army crawl. Army crawling after, like, walking downstairs after leg day is like, oh god, it's the scariest thing. I always find that it's 2 days after leg day is when my legs are the sorest. Man, after, like, when you're sitting down at your desk after leg day and you go to stand up, and like it's like the most painful thing. Wall sits? I like for core work, I've been doing it a good bit more, is weighted crunches with the cable machine. I should try doing more like just leg raises and stuff though when I'm doing pull-ups. Also train my grip a little bit, keep and hold after doing pull-ups. The second day is always worse. It is. You only last 1 hour with wall sits. I don't really do them much, but 1 hour. I feel like 1 hour just sitting on a wall is pretty good. Your gym had something against its members, you swear. All the leg machines and free weights were downstairs. Oh, so if you were doing anything other than... Oh, wait, you had to walk downstairs. Oh, that's mean. You had to go up the stairs afterwards. Well, I feel like yeah, that's very sore, but like I always feel going downstairs is like your shaky legs, and if they go, you're falling. Wait, how many pages do I have left of that of this chapter? I feel like, okay, yeah, I literally have 1 page left. I'm just gonna finish this off real quick. Where were we? At the end of modernity, we are thus led to confront the question whether there is any solution to this problem within the ontological horizon that modernity opens up, and thus whether modernity, even in its most secular form, can escape from the metaphysical and theological problem with which it began. In his Parmenides, Plato explores the primordial question of the one and the many. This question is primordial because it cannot be answered, and it cannot be answered because it is itself the presupposition of all thinking, and therefore of all questioning and all answering. We cannot think about things without thinking those things as being both one and many. There are different explanations for this dilemma, some rooted in the contradictory nature of existence, and others in the inadequacy of language to grasp the being. But we need not go into these matters here, shame. It is sufficient for our purposes to recognize that there is no unequivocal answer to this question. As a result, there can be no more final theoretical vision of the whole that can serve as the absolute, fundamental and unshakable truth. Neither a Parmenidean dwelling in the one nor a radical individualism or nominalism can dissolve this contradiction, nor can it be eliminated by a means of a linguistic turn that imagines everything to be the play of mere words or signs, a language game or a game that creates the world anew every time we speak. This question thus underlies and shapes all philosophizing. Plato's Parmenides argues that the attempt to explain the world either through the one without reference to the many, or through the many without reference to the one, is doomed to failure. Nominalism rejects realism because it goes too far in the direction of the one, positing an identity between God and his creation. Nominalism, by contrast, draws a sharp distinction between the two, and as a result puts great emphasis on manyness and particularity. The three men who left the Cathedral Notre Dame des Doms that day in 1326 in Avignon, William of Ockham, Francesco Petrarch, and Meister Eckhart, faced this question and sought to answer it. Their answers and those of their successors in various and often contradictory ways have shaped the modern world, redefining the relations and nature of man, God and the cosmos. In the struggle that we now face and in those that the future holds in store over the nature of modernization and globalization, it is imperative that we understand the ways in which not only our opponents but we ourselves continue to be shaped and motivated by beliefs and ideas that are themselves not modern, that are in fact the reappearance of the very questions that gave birth to the modern age. And the next chapter deals with Petrarch and the invention of individuality, but I think we'll leave that for another reading string. Sorry, I just wanted to finish that off because I knew I was very close. Yours heard 4 days after sugar. Oh, you need to be drinking more water then. If you're still sore after like 4 days, I feel like you need to be drinking a lot more water. It could just be something. I don't know. It could just be you. It could just be your body, I suppose. Stairs are arch enemy. Don't worry about walking downstairs. The gym has 2 or 3 stories up. You forget. So leaving the gym, you had to walk down another set of stairs. That's fun. That's great. They're very kind to you, aren't they? Excuse me. Well, I've been going just under 2 hours, which is a decent time, I think. Yeah, I'll probably go back to training maybe tomorrow or something. Just been giving it a rest on my foot and that thing in my hip, but I'll do some back and maybe chest or something like that. We'll see. That's the price you pay for the cheapest gym in the city. Yeah, you pay for quality, I suppose, or you don't pay for quality in this case. I knew it. I knew you'd do it. Stop. How dare you? No, you weren't even sneaky this time. You little goblin. Grab her. No, I'm gonna try and grab her. She's too fast. Dared into the woods. Look at her smiling smugly at me. That damn little goblin. I'll grab her one day. She actually has an emote where she's running. She's running away from me. I'll grab you one day and I'll make you pay, goblin. I will make you pay for all of your transgressions against me. But until that time that I catch Gwynny Gobcubus. Okay, you're making me do push-ups. Okay, all right. Cheap gym you have is $40. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna get you. Okay, let's do push-ups. I'm just hoping no one comes in. All right. You know what? Olga's a health freak, so I kind of have to be impressive as well here. So I do have a bit of motivation. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 31, 2, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, Okay. I think 40 is decent. Good job. Thank you, Olga. Thank you. It is easier to do them fast, or do more when you do them fast. Obviously, if you slow it down and focus on the motion, they will get harder. That's a weird but interesting rule. What is it? You have to show up. You can't miss a day at the gym. That's a really weird thing. Yeah. What the fuck? I buy a membership so that I can go when I want to. That's really weird. But I guess it encourages you to go to the gym, I suppose. Make use of it. That's good. No rest days. It's so stupid. Yeah, it sounds like it's really dumb. No rest days. But gym membership. My body is breaking. Too bad. Get in the squat rack. My leg is broken. Get in the squat rack now. Okay, you're like one leg squatting. Is it group trainings? Ah, okay. I see. So like these might be things you pay for. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense because they're paying. Well, even then you still paid for it, so I don't know. Weird. Maybe the idea is that, you know, if someone else, you know, if it's like classes, people want to go to them. So if you take a space, that's one person who can't go. And if you don't go to it, then, you know, that's a bit of an issue. But, excuse me. Whew. Okay, let me see who is around. Any of my... I rated an Omo last stream. Anyone doing ASMR? If you have worked out for a while, this talk is making you miss it. You will miss working out your triceps. I love tricep dips, actually. They're one of my favorite exercises as well. It's just nice when you have like, when you're doing weighted dips and you have a nice bit of weight on them. And you're just like, especially when you get to the last few and you're like really grunting it out. Triceps are beautiful. They do have a great shape, I will say. They give the shape to the arm. Like everyone loves the biceps because they look big and strong, but it's the tricep. Triceps. It's the triceps. The triceps. You need to be working the triceps, not those biceps. You have disproportionate triceps which are bigger than the rest of the upper body. It's so funny. Good job. You can mog everyone with your triceps. Who is doing ASMR? Is anyone doing ASMR right now? Hang on, let me... Do you guys want to rate a femboy? Yeah, that kind of seems what they are. Wait, no, where'd they go? Cat boy, yeah. Cat boy. They're a cat boy VTuber. Let's rate this. Let's rate this person. They seem nice. Wishtails. Ooh, they actually have a nice voice. They're doing ASMR. They're white and black haired, with also purple actually. Very nice. Cat boys are always in trend. They will never go out of fashion. Cat boys, dog boys, cat girls and dog girls. They'll always be there. I asked before, do I give cat or dog vibes? And people say a third animal. I like to think I'm like a fox, like I'm cunning and smart. I'm fantastic, Mr. Fox. Maybe I'm like a deer or something. I don't know. But I will send you guys off to him. Lion? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I'm a goddamn lion. But you get dog vibes? What kind of dog, though? Wait, I don't have time because I started the raid. Okay, so, uh, foxes are cat and dog same time. Yes, I'm a combination of both. A terrier. That's not a bad one. That's not a bad one. But I will send you guys off to Wish Tales. Be nice to him. Be sweet. Gurren Mila Mahagat and Slán go fóill.